There's a sound not everyone notices, a sound that doesn't come from the physical world, from the environment around you, or from anything you've been used to hearing since childhood. It's subtle, almost imperceptible, but once it appears, it never truly disappears. Many people think awakening is about seeing lights, feeling vibrations, having visions, or entering some kind of mystical trance. But before any image, before any physical sensation, before any external change, there's a sound so discreet that only the souls already beginning their transition can perceive it. And if you're here, maybe it's not a coincidence. Maybe you've heard it too, maybe without knowing, maybe without understanding, or maybe you ignored it because it felt too strange to be real. But it was there. It has always been there. The sound of a soul awakening never arrives as noise. It never arrives as music. It never arrives as a voice. It arrives as presence. And when you finally hear Eidavon for a single second, your consciousness never returns to its original place. It's as if a part of you, asleep for years, is quietly and deeply touched. And before you try to rationalize it, some part of you already understands. Not because you read it in a book or watched it in a documentary, but because you're being recognized as something familiar in that sound, something ancient, something you heard before you were born, before you became who you think you are, something you hear now because you're slowly returning to your own nature. When a soul enters transition, it becomes more sensitive to what was once hidden beneath layers of distractions, noise, worries, expectations, and routines. The world tries to make you believe awakening is dramatic, but the truth ice it silent. It happens in the pauses, in the spaces between thoughts, in the small gaps between one breath and the next, in moments when you're alone, but don't feel lonely. You sense something has shifted, but you can't explain what. That's when the sound begins. This sound doesn't resemble anything familiar. It may appear as a faint buzz that vanishes immediately, as a high tone that only shows up when you're still, as a vibration that seems to come from inside, not outside, as an echo, a calling, a reminder, or like that heavy silence, not empty, but full, so full it almost feels like it's breathing with you. It doesn't matter how it appears. If you've heard Eidavon for a moment, you've already begun the transition. And why do some people hear it while others don't? It's not privilege. It's not luck. It's not a special gift. It's readiness. You begin to hear when you stop distracting yourself, when you stop hurting yourself with old stories, when you stop insisting on paths that no longer belong to you, when the soul becomes too tired to keep ignoring what has tried to show you all along, when you can no longer pretend everything is the same, when you sense there is something calling you back, not backward, but inward. Forget the idea that this perception is too spiritual or that it only happens to people who are deeply evolved. In truth, it happens to people who are tired, exhausted, saturated, people who can't keep living on autopilot, people who begin to question, people who begin to feel too much, people who notice that certain conversations hurt, certain environments drain them, certain company aches, certain choices misalign them, people who realize their senses don't react the same way anymore. Something is changing even if they don't know what. And in the middle of this silent transition, the sound appears. Have you ever noticed it? A strange tone, a soft hum, a faint inner vibration that didn't feel physical? Many people get scared. They think they're losing their mind. They think it's imagination. But it's not imagination. It's perception. Expanded perception. Awakened perception. The sound you hear isn't something external telling you what to do. It's a part of you lost long ago, finally finding space to speak again. And it doesn't speak with words. It doesn't speak with phrases. It speaks with frequency. This is the most crucial part of the process. Awakening is not about learning something new. It's about remembering what you forgot. You're not learning. You're returning. You're not starting something. You're continuing something. You're not becoming who you should be. You're removing layers that hid who you always were. And this sound is the first reminder, the first calling, the first opening, the first movement. One of the deepest signs of this transition is noticing that what once made sense now feels empty. Conversations that once excited you now bore you. Old dreams lose their shine. Places you used to go no longer feel like home. People who once filled you now drain you. It's not arrogance. It's not superiority. It's frequency. Your soul shifts its vibration, and when that happens, old sounds no longer match who you're becoming. You start seeking silence not to escape, but because silence is where the new sound lives. And when you begin hearing that sound more clearly, something extraordinary happens. You start noticing what isn't sound but should be. You sense the emotional emptiness in someone's voice, the lie behind a smile, the sadness hidden inside a cheerful conversation, the insecurity behind a harsh opinion. You begin hearing what was never said. At first, it can be overwhelming, but it's a gift given only to those ready to feel beyond the obvious. There comes a part of the journey where everything intensifies. The transition becomes unmistakable. You start having moments of insight that seem to come out of nowhere. A sentence appears in your mind clear, direct, and you know you didn't invent it. It simply arrived. And when it arrives, it calms you. It guides you. It aligns something inside you. Sentences like "it's okay," "don't force it," "it has begun," "keep going." Now you understand. This is not your imagination speaking. It is your inner field aligning with who you really are. And then, at some point after days, weeks, maybe months, something changes. Not dramatically, but profoundly. You feel an internal click, a point of no return, a quiet certainty that you're no longer in the same place you were before. You may still live the same routine, but you're not the same being living it. You feel calmer, more aware, more sensitive, more silent. You react less, observe more, feel more, but panic less. It's as if the inner sound reorganized your entire way of existing. And then comes the most beautiful phase. You begin to trust. Not because life gets easier, not because the world gives you guarantees, but because there's a quiet voice inside you, yes, that one that doesn't abandon you anymore. The voice that appears in stillness. The voice that never scares you. The voice that never orders, never demands, never criticizes. The voice that simply reminds, guides, holds. The voice that tells you you're not alone. You never were. You just couldn't hear it before. And when you hear it clearly, something powerful happens. You stop chasing answers. Stop begging for validation. Stop obsessing over the future. Stop trying to understand everything. Because you realize there's a space within you where everything is already understood. Not explained. Understood. A silent, deep, undeniable understanding. At this point, the world begins to look different. Not because the world changed, but because your perception did. Ordinary sounds gain depth. Silence gains texture. Simple moments gain beauty. Life stops being noisy and becomes harmonious. And you begin to notice that the soul speaks far more to what you feel than to what you think. Maybe you're feeling this right now. Maybe just hearing these words is making your body react in unexpected calm, a soft shiver, a deeper breath, a strange sense. I know exactly what this is talking about. That's not coincidence. That's resonance. A soul in transition recognizes another soul speaking because they speak the same frequency. And now, here is something few people say. This sound you're hearing, whether deep silence, vibration, or a faint tone, isn't meant to guide you out of the world, but back into yourself. This isn't about escaping. It's about remembering. Remembering that there is something greater inside you than everything that hurt you. Something more real than any story you've told yourself. Something stronger than any fear you ever felt. Remembering that you are not falling asleep, you are returning. And once you understand this, the transition becomes less frightening. You realize you're not losing anything, you're gaining everything. You're not becoming strange, you're becoming real. You're not becoming lonely, you're becoming conscious. You're not becoming cold, you're becoming deep. You're not becoming distant, you're becoming aligned. And maybe, right now, as you listen to this, you can feel that inner sound. Maybe it's a sudden vibration. Maybe a heavy stillness. Maybe a subtle chill. Maybe the feeling of something touching your energy field. Maybe just a soft peace you haven't felt in a long time. If something inside you reacted even slightly, that's a sign. Not an external sign. An internal one. A sign from your own soul, saying, I'm here. And if this message reached you, and you reached this point, and you felt something, even something small, then Maybe you already know. Maybe the answer isn't something you search for. Maybe the answer is happening now. Maybe you are one of these souls in transition. Maybe you're hearing the sound many people ignore. Maybe this isn't new. Maybe it's recognition. And now I invite you not to believe, not to follow anything, not to adopt an idea, but to pay attention. Pay attention to what you feel right now. Pay attention to your breath. Pay attention to the silence behind these words. Pay attention to the sound that isn't a sound, but a presence. Pay attention to what you already know, because that's the point you already know. You just needed to remember. And if something inside you opened, connected, or responded, then this message was meant for you. Not because I said it, but because your soul confirmed it. And when the soul confirms, there is no doubt. There is recognition. There is return. There is remembering. And before we finish, I ask for something simple. Share in the comments if you've ever felt this sound. If you've noticed signs like these. If any part of this touched you in a way no one ever explained. Your experience might help another soul in transition. And if this video touched your heart, remember to leave a like. It helps this message reach others who may be going through the same silent process you are. And if you want to keep receiving content that awakens, deepens, and expands, subscribe to the channel. There is still so much you need to hear. And much of what you're looking for is already looking for you. Keep listening. The journey has just begun.